Thank you. My name is Oyebanji Akins, and you can call me the Joe Fresh, and we're live on CTD Among Blacks. We're live on another audio episode, and I have with me right here, I have a wonderful friend of mine she's from, it's kind of like a mixed place, I'm going to say it, but it's been a privilege having her on our podcast today, and she's from a part of Jamaican, she's Congolese, and she's an American. And without ado for that time wasting, we have here with me. I want to make sure I say the name right. So before I say it, I'm gonna give you the privilege to say your name and just say hi to our audience. Then I can pick it after you. So can you tell us your name? Then say hi to everybody. Then I can try to get it because I don't want to mess your name up.
Okay, my name is Esther.
Thank you. So because she told me you got to put R into it, Esther. So I'm trying to make sure I get it right. Thank you very much, Esther. And on this episode, what we're going to be talking about is still on the language disconnection. And it's a privilege having somebody from that part of the world, being coming from a part of Jamaica and having the bloodline of a Congolese and living in the United States. I'm definitely sure this particular episode is going to be a wonderful one for everybody listening. So for all my Jamaicans that might be listening to us, I hope you can be able to get some new things following us. And for all the Congolese too that might be following us, I believe today having Esther with us is gonna, bring more awareness to some things we know and living in America. And for those back home, if you're privileged to listen to this, and to all every other part of Africans to them might be listening, it's an opportunity for us to learn some things from their own side of the world. But without not wasting too much of our time, I'm going to be going into the question. Where the first question I'm going to be asking Esther today is, how was your unique cultural background influence your relationship with language and communication living in America?
Wow, that's a really good question. Um, as Jamaican, Congolese, and half American, it has been a little difficult actually. Just in general, basically, it okay. So it's a little difficult because I speak more than one language, right?
Mm.
So on my father's side, I speak totally different from my mama's side. So it has been a little overwhelming because my father doesn't really speak much of my mom's language.
Oh, so your dad doesn't really speak much of your mom language. Does your
No,
mom speak your dad language?
she tried. She tried.
And how was that being for you, finding yourself in that kind of a culture where they have two languages and you find yourself living in America? How do you manage with which one? Do you go through the process of saying which one am I going to speak much, or how does that
Um,
been for you?
I don't really go to that kind of process of like which one can I speak first or most, um, because I have known my mama's language,
Mm.
as part of me most of the time. Like I understand most of patois. Um, I just can't make really good conversation because I didn't really have that connection with like
A lot of people
a lot
from
of
the outside.
people from my
Well,
father's
so
side.
what if I get it right? That means like when people speak Patois, you really understand. You might not
Right,
just be able to
right.
speak it. Oh, that's
Hmm.
cool. That's cool. That's cool. I think that kind of helps if, as long as you can understand what they're saying, and you could go back. And like I said, we live in America, so it's not like Patois is something we really, really speak. But
It's just a broken English.
ah, it's just almost like Nigerian have this our own way of broken English that we speak. It's different from just a common American English. Thank you for that. My next question is going to be: can you tell us about your experience growing up in Jamaica, and if you ever been to Congolese background in being in the American system, and how does this affect your language skills and identity?
Okay. So growing up in Jamaica, I really left Jamaica when I was about I must say 10 years old.
Mm.
At the time, my mother moved back to her country. So from there, I, like I was about 10. So being a 10-year old, you know, learning a new language, it's a little difficult, but then excited at the same time. Um, so it hasn't really.
I feel like it's a question people haven't really asked you that much like that.
Yeah, so I don't really get that, like, how was it for you and stuff like that. It's just like everybody always like, oh, excited, or like, how are you, Jamaican, Congolese? Like, they usually don't get the combination because.
Yeah, I've never met anybody from that side of the world saying,
Right.
you're Congolese, you're Jamaican, and you're living in America.
I don't know.
It's a privilege for me, though. I'm not gonna lie, having to have you in our podcast and sharing your views and everything like that. But I'll move to the third question, which I think is still kind of related to the second one that I asked you. And the third one says, have you ever encountered any challenges or disconnection in terms of your language communication due to having multiple cultural influence? And if so, how do you navigate yourself around them?
Sure, yes. So when it comes to like language challenges, of course, I have had that. Just a few years back, when my grandfather died, we had to go home. My grandfather from my father's side, we had to go back home to Jamaica. It's like a cultural thing. All the grandkids and the great grandkids had to be there. So we could hear what they were saying. It's just we have to speak English back to them.
And how does that make them feel when they see you speaking English back? Do you feel some kind of like, damn, I wish I could speak this language? Or do they welcome you in all hands, or they understand the fact that you guys can speak it?
They do understand. It's just like they will kind of treat you different. Like they treat you as you're an American now, or like you're your mother's kid now.
Oh,
so it's not as welcoming as like.
And how does that make you feel? Not being to Jamaica for a very long time and going home for your grandparents' burial, and you kind of see how people, people back home try to see you. Is that something you expect, or wasn't something you expect to happen?
That's not something I expected. After all, is my family too. Mm-hmm. So not being welcome with like, as part of family, it was a little weird and like difficult.
So the thing I would say is, what do you, in your own perspective, having that kind of experience, what do you think we can do? Because I'm a Nigerian, and sometimes I experience something you're saying too. Because I can only speak my language, I can't read it. Like I can speak my local dialect back home, but when you tell me to read, I can't. Now that I've been here for a couple of years, and some things I've been saying is becoming losing when I could tell people telling me like, oh, you think America, that like they call me up by telling me like, I think American is changing you now, like you're trying to lose. And the truth is I'm not, but I just feel like where I stay and I leave, it becomes where I have to identify myself.
Right.
And one thing I've learned to always tell people, and which is one of the reasons why we have this podcast about, you don't got to subject me because if I can't speak my language or maybe I'm losing it. The fact is you just got to understand me for who I am right now. And how we can all coexist and live in the same place. Not you trying to make me feel like I'm no more welcomed just because I'm losing my, should I say my home country?
No, not really. Not that. I think it's like, okay, you hear, all you speak here is English, right? And then if you go back home, not like they do speak English, but it's not, like, it's kind of like a broken different. English. Yeah. I don't know how you call it.
Yeah, I think we call it that tobacco.
Right. So, and then the mentalities that we have learned here being in America is totally different from, from like if you were living in Africa or if you're living like in Jamaica, like it's totally different mentality compared to like Americans.
That's true. That's true. That's true. I thank you for that. My next question is going to be, what role does language play in preserving and expressing your Jamaican and Congolese heritage? Are there any specific ways you actively engage with this language to maintain the connection?
Well, that's a good one. So I'm not really like close to Jamaicans like that. So it doesn't really affect or impact me in one way or the other.
What about in Congolese?
So I'm mostly like on my mama's side, which is Congolese. So like it
So do you watch Congolese movie? Listen to Congolese music?
Not their movies. I will watch Jamaican movies
Oh,
instead of
dang.
Congolese
So you,
movies.
even though you're kind of not really close to the Jamaican side, you still enjoy watching the movie
Right.
than watching Congolese movie.
Right. It's just I don't know, something about it is different.
I think you just had that question some kind of way because the exact thing is about how this languages maintain your connection. So I think through the movie you connect more to the Jamaicans.
Yeah. I mean, kinda.
So do you cook both Jamaican food or Congolese? Which one do you cook most?
Both.
You really connect then, because if you still cook both food, that means that's something you really connect with. Because not everybody from home still want to eat our food back home, and you still having that taste still make you connect home. Because if you go back home, you'll be able to eat what you eat back home.
Right.
Yeah, so you're still pretty much connected a lot. I think it's just the language thing you're not really connected to. Every other thing you embrace it. Because if you listen to the music, that means you're really, that's something deep. For you to listen to the music means you're really connected with it.
Yeah.
My next question is gonna be: have you ever faced any stereotypes of misconceptions related to your language or culture background? And if that happened, how have you dealt with such things like that? Being a Congolese, being a Jamaican, have you been able to be stereotyped misconcept about how they look at black people? Have you ever had any experience like that being in America?
Just a little bit, because when it comes to Congolese, introducing myself as like, oh, I'm part Jamaican, they always look at me like, huh? Like, what are you talking about? Because most Congolese don't really expect that.
Really?
No, they don't expect that.
So you get this from Congolese, not from American, if I'm correct.
Americans are usually like excited. We're like, oh, that's really nice. Like they wanna get to know much about it. But when it comes to Congolese, they're just like, wait, no way. Like, you can't be.
How does that make you feel when they give you that reaction of like,
It's really judgmental for sure. Like, like I'm telling you I'm this and you're telling me not. Or I'm telling you I can do this and you're saying, no, you can't do that, It's like bringing you down from,
wow.
Yeah.
I think I keep repeating that for whoever that's listening to us right now. You could check us on Instagram, CTD Among Blacks, and on Facebook is CTD Among Blacks, and our website is www.ctdamongblacks. And if you have any question or anything you would like to join on this channel, you can always reach us on ctdamongblacks@gmail.com. We'll promise you we'll surely respond back as soon as possible. And while moving forward with the next question, I'll be asking you my next question is going to be: how do you balance the different languages and dialects you are exposed into in your daily life? And are there any strategies or technique you use to maintain your proficiency in all of these things? Like on your daily way to, how do you manage being a Jamaican and being a Congolese and you're an American?
I guess I just forget that I'm both and I just want to be American for a little bit. Just so I can fit in, you know what I mean? Like blend in too. But when it comes to like challenges or like language thing, like it doesn't really affect me like that.
I'm glad
for some reason.
That's good. My next question is gonna be: have you ever experienced any language barrier? Which I know you say you really don't speak a lot of Jamaicans, and or difficulties in bridging the gap between your various cultural identity. If yes, how have you managed those situations? I know you explained to me like the stereotype about some things, but how do you manage it yourself in your mental way of how you see those things? How do you manage to keep going without not letting them get it to you?
I really try to ignore a lot of things. I try to ignore a lot of things. Like if anything is gonna affect me mentally, physically, emotionally, I do my best to ignore it and just think like it didn't happen or like this is not happening, type of thing. So, because if I think about it, it's gonna affect me. But like if I don't think about it, it's not gonna get to me because it didn't happen.
That's deep. I would like to ask you this question. It's kind of a little bit tricky, and the question go like this. How has it been living in America, having double background of culture from Congolese and Jamaica for you?
Um, Dub culture. That's a good one. It has been a little like you mean like being Jamaican and
Yeah,
Congolese?
but then you're living in America. How has the? I mean, yourself. How have you been? When you have your quiet time and you think about the fact that, hey, man, I got Congolese in me, I got Jamaican in me, and I'm living in America. How do you, on your daily basis, how do you see yourself in those worlds, and how do you, perceive yourself in the culture of those things all around together?
Um, First of all, I do like that I'm different. You
Mm,
know,
I like that.
not everybody's like me. Everybody come from somewhere,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Um, so it doesn't really like I don't really think about it like in a bad way or anything like that. You know, I appreciate that. I appreciate the mixture, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, so you kind of like the fact that you have this unique way, because I'm not
Right.
gonna lie to you, I've never ever met somebody having Congolese. I always seen people Jamaica America, but I've never seen a Jamaican having Congolese. Then all of a sudden you're living in America,
Yeah.
and that's very deep. I would like you to do one thing for us anyway. I would like you to speak Congolese, because I don't understand it, to our audience that might be listening in Congo, the Americans that are Congolese, to just greet them in your own way. And okay, do it like this. Can you talk to Congolese about your differences, how they've trying to like this, like people back home or anybody you've met that don't understand that you're Jamaican, and you like to tell them something. When they see you and say, "Oh, I'm a Jamaican," they're like, "Oh, really?" I would like you to speak in your language and tell them, like, in your own view of giving them this view, like, okay, if you ever come across somebody from Jamaica and have a Congolese, I would appreciate if you guys can see things in the other ways like this, and when you talk like this is the effect it gives to them. But I want you to speak in your language, in Congolese.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Jambo. Kwa wote ambao mnanisikia sasa hivi, kwa jina naitwa Esther, na nataka kuwakaribisha ku ECD Among the Blacks. Ni kipindi ambacho kinaendelea hapa, wanafanyia Houston, but na live San Antonio, Texas. Nataka tu kuwakaribisha na kuwaambia kama kuna kitu ambacho kinakusumbua ya kuwa tofauti na wengine, usishite kwa kujitokeza, na kama unahitaji msaada wowote tutakuwepo hapa kusaidia kwa jinsi yoyote ile unayotaka wewe. Niko hapa kwenu tena na kuwasalimieni. Asante.
I really want to learn how to speak this. This is really, really nice. I don't know, man, but you say it so nice, and I'm just looking at you saying it, and I'm just smiling like, wow. And thank you for doing that for us. So I really, really do appreciate the fact that you speak in your language. I think I'm not gonna lie to you, except my language, you're gonna be the second person on this channel speaking in your own dialect. And like I always tell people, that is what this podcast is about. It's about bridging the gap and about connecting the dots. Like, if we can all understand our differences and respect it, it's going to help us in a long way. We all don't have to be the same. We all don't have to see things from the same perspective. But the habit and the fact of respecting people's view and how they want to live their life will make us respect ourselves and understand why you want to be like this. And thank you for doing that. My next question is, what would you like to tell Jamaicans? You don't got to speak in Jamaican about it. I think you already give us enough for this particular episode. But what would you like to tell the Jamaicans that come across somebody that have three bloodline of being an American, being a Congolese, and being a Jamaican, based on the experience you have every time you go home, that you like to tell them, being a stranger, like, okay, why didn't you guys see this like this? Or why didn't you appreciate next time when you come across somebody having three bloodline, respect them and see their view in their own way. So what would you like to tell a Jamaican listening to you right now?
Like a mixture Jamaican or just Jamaican?
Both ways. For mixture and Jamaican, both ways.
Okay. I would just like to tell them not to treat the ones that's like let me say, okay, I'm Congolese Jamaican, not to treat us different, because at the end of the day, we're still Jamaicans too. Just because I don't speak Jamaican language does not make me half Jamaican. And to embrace all of us.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And the next question I want to ask you is that I would like to get your views about, like, being a Congolese, being a Jamaican, and you come across an American, even though they're, wow, this is nice, this is this. I would like you to give your own view of how you can encourage them and how you can tell them to embrace people from those two worlds, and how next time when you come across, and if you think every experience you have has been good, I would like to say some good words to encourage people to keep doing that. So can you give us something on that view of your past experience you might have?
Of course. I'd just like to say that don't be shy to speak up of who you are. Like, if you're, like, wherever you are, wherever you're from, don't be shy to speak up, because there's always somebody there that's like you, but they don't know where to start.
I like that.
And then they don't, like, for me, I always claim Congolese, because when I go to Jamaicans, they don't take me in with two hands. Wow. So I'm going to go ahead and claim Congolese, because that's where I feel like I belong, which is not supposed to be like that. But it's just not to be afraid of, like, not to be ashamed, first of all, of who you are.
I like that, not to be ashamed of who you are in respect of where you might be coming from. Just try not to be ashamed of yourself. That's very deep. I think the one I want to add to it is, what would you like to tell the next generation coming behind us that might be Congolese, that might be, having the bloodline of a Congolese, Jamaican, and live in America? What would you like to encourage such next generation coming after us to, I definitely believe there's some things you have went through, and you might be strong enough to see it in a positive way. But for any child coming after, listening to this, that might be lost, or to anyone out there that's Congolese, Jamaican, that haven't had the privilege of opportunity of what you have, I want you to be the voice to say one or two things to encourage them that might live in America or anywhere they might be in the world.
Well, it's just to tell them, speak your mind, always stand up for yourself, no matter what comes your way. Don't listen to any negative things. Like, don't let people put you down, because at the end of the day, we only got one life, and time is really expensive. It's really precious. So just be yourself. Just be yourself. Don't pretend to be somebody you're not.
I like the last one when you said, you just gotta be yourself, because at the end of the day, that's the only identity you have.
Exactly.
In respect of how you might want to. So being somebody else might not help you in the future, because you're not really trying to push who you are out. And the more you push who you are, somebody out there might embrace you. Like you said earlier on, you said speak up, because you don't know, somebody might be from your own hand too, or your culture. But when you don't speak, you might not even know. So I want to ask you this. I know for a fact you might have had some couple of experiences. What have been your experience dealing with a Nigerian? Kind of tricky. But I would like to get your own view about what have been your experience dealing with Nigerian people. Like, how do you see Nigerian living in America, being a Congolese, being a Jamaican, and being an American living in America? And I know for a fact you might have crossed by with some Nigerians. What have been your view, basically, of what you think on when you were opportune to experience some Nigerian and as a friend? What can you say about Nigerians?
So far, I have had some really good friends from Nigeria.
I'm one of them now too, though.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I have had really good friends from Nigeria so far. I haven't really experienced like bad thing from Nigerians so far, They're really welcoming. Everywhere you meet them, like, they're like the head of the parties and all that kind of stuff.
So I'm making add to it. Do you think, I don't know, because I've talked to a lot of Americans that they tell me, like, when we're young, what they show us on the TV wasn't what, when we get to know you guys, was the different thing. Like, the only thing they try to let us know is, people suffering, you guys walk with barefoot, and people tell me like, now that I know you, when you be talking to me, what I have in my head make me think everything you're saying doesn't make sense. But then when I get to know you, I'm like, wow, they lie to us, they do this, they do that. I think that's why I was asking you a question too, from growing up, of what you've thought about Nigerians and being around us, and does that change what you've known about us, or it's still the same thing?
It's not just Nigerians. Like, when it comes to like Africans, what they put on TV is not what's out there. Like if you go back to anywhere in Africa right now, they have like upgrades and stuff like that. So Africa is not the same Africa that used to be back then. So basically, just don't judge a book by its cover, because if you haven't been to Africa, don't speak about Africa. You know what I mean?
That's
just
real.
like if you haven't been to America, you can't speak about America because you don't know.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
I like that. I like that because I be telling people back home too, when I talk to family and friends, like, I don't care what you guys might watch on the TV, on the movies, it's totally different from how things is done. Because people back home in my own country, Nigeria, they tend not to understand. Okay, I'm gonna say this: we don't pay rent every month. We only pay once in a year.
Right.
And coming to United States, we got to pay rent every month. So when maybe finance is something they expect from you back home, and you tell them like, I gotta pay bills, they're like, no, what do you mean you gotta pay bills? Like, I've been watching. I had a friend that tell me like, you watch a movie that it felt like we don't pay for cars. You can just pick up any cars on the road and you can pick the key. I'm like, nah.
Well, I wish that was possible.
Anyway, without wasting too much of your time, it's been wonderful having you. I want to ask this one. Would you like to say anything just personally for yourself, just being on this channel, or there's nothing you like to say?
Of course. It is an honor to be here.
Thank you.
I really appreciate your time.
Oh, we do appreciate you having us to be in your own abode here in San Antonio. Yeah, I got to say this before you say what you want to say. Shout out to Esther, because right near where we're making this recording right now, we're in San Antonio, we're not in Houston. And this is going to be our first time living in Houston, coming out of Houston to another location to do it. And Esther have been that one that allowed us to have a couple of different episodes to be shot in our house. And that's something that I be telling people out there sometimes, like, there are wonderful people black out there. Sometimes you got to reach out. Like she said, you got to talk when you speak loud. They are good people. They are, being a Congolese, Jamaican, and American, she has shown me that part of her life. And without knowing too much about me, even though it's risky, but through a friend of a friend, we've been here, and she's been wonderful. I've tried Congolese food. She gave me Nigerian rice, and I've had a lot of hospitality from her. And I just want to give it our audience to say we really appreciate every effort you've given to us, and it's a privilege. And you've really grown something people don't believe that exists. Is that there's still good people out there, in respect of what it is. So don't give up on that. So I appreciate you, but like I said, I don't want to take the opportunity of what you want to say from me.
Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Like I always say to people, we're about to run everything up for this particular episode, and it's been an honor having Esther representing all the Congolese and all the Jamaicans, and I hope we've been able to, give you some kind of insight about how things should be done and how we think based on our experience that we'd have. You can follow us one more time on CTD Among Blacks on Instagram, on Facebook, and our website is www.ctdamongblacks. And you can reach us for any sponsorship, for any businesses you might want to discuss, or if you want to be on this channel or you have a story you want to tell that you have been looking for a platform to be able to share those news or any information you want to share, you can always reach us at ctdamongblacks@gmail.com. I remain Ofresh, and you can call me Oyebanji Akins, and this is City Among Blacks. Before I go, I'll say this: it might not make sense right now, but I can promise you, if everything you're doing is right and it's good, just keep doing it. In the future, it's going to make a lot of sense, and people will come. Thank you, Esther, for this opportunity, having us in your abode. And till the next episode, I remain Ofresh, and you can, thank you. Why are you mad that you took my thank you from my mouth before I say thank you? So, Esther, thank you very much for having us in your house. I'm not going to lie.